Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Business Spotlight podcast, where we shine a light on the incredible entrepreneurs and business leaders in our community. I'm your host, Craig Whipperman with Music City Action Coach, and today we're excited to introduce you to someone who's blazing a trail in valet parking right here in Nashville. Our guest today is Hunter Allison, owner of Trinity Parking. We'll dive into Hunter's background, explore the challenges he's faced, and the successes he's celebrated. Whether you're a fellow entrepreneur, an aspiring business owner, or simply someone who loves to support local businesses, this conversation is sure to inspire and inform. So without further ado, let's welcome Hunter to the show. Hunter, how you doing today?
I'm good, Craig. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, looking forward to having a conversation with you.
Oh yeah.
Tell us tell us how Trinity Parking came to be. How'd you end up owning Trinity?
Yeah, it's an interesting story, a lot of twists and turns. Um, but I never thought set out to become an entrepreneur. I never set out to own my own business. But I think God works in mysterious ways, and it just kind of the path that I kind of tr followed led me here. I went to Lipscomb University, and when I was at Lipscomb, I was studying software engineering. I had dreams of becoming a coder, a programmer, video game design, what anything in that space. Um, Absolutely nothing to do with valet parking. But I decided when I was in college, I decided to work as a valet. It's great money for college students. It's just a really good college job. And while I was working at that company, I started to move up and started to get some more responsibilities. They moved me into a management position after a couple of years. And then there were quite a few twists and turns. I ended up dropping out of school, had to move back home, and then came back to that job. All that over the span of about 5 years. And about 5 years later, I found myself managing, not going to school anymore, and managing this valet company. Uh, at that point, this was about 2017, and the company that I worked for got bought by another company. And I I had had a lot of misgivings about some of the other companies in Nashville, or not even Nashville. Just I got a glimpse into corporate life and didn't want to get stuck in corporate life. Um, and so when that company got bought, I was introduced by my old boss. I was introduced to my now partner, who's a serial entrepreneur. And we kind of had some conversations about like, hey, you don't want to get lost in the shuffle. I thought I was going to probably get a demotion at the new company. And I just kind of wanted to keep moving forward instead of backwards. So we had the conversation about starting a parking company, and it just kind of led me to here. And that was 7 years ago.
Wow, 7 years ago. So would you have done it on your own had you not had somebody kind of nudging you?
I had thought about it. My uncle is an entrepreneur. And so there's a little bit of that bone in me somewhere, obviously. And and so I had considered it. We went back and forth, my partner and I proposed something to him. He proposed back, and we kind of went back and forth. Um, and And in those conversations, I did have the thought, I was like, I wonder if I could do it by myself. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it's better to partner with someone. Our skills complement each other really well. So I'm very glad I didn't do it by myself.
Awesome, awesome. So how do your skills complement? Where's your business partner's strengths? And then how do you complement his
Yeah, that's a
weakness?
great question. Like I said, he's a serial entrepreneur. And so he knows business. He really knows business. I'm a college dropout. When I was at college, I studied software engineering. And so I don't have a lot of business skill or business acumen. And he does. And so he brought on that business skill, business knowledge. And I brought in all the operation knowledge of valet parking. The way we separated things is he focuses on financials, taxes, compliance, all that kind of stuff. And I purely focus on operations, the valet structure, the people management, all those things that I'm really good at.
Yeah, cool, man. So, how did you start? You guys decided to come up with this idea. Did you, I know you do a lot of events. You've signed, you enter into agreements and contracts with hotels and what have you. Was the business that way from the beginning, or did it evolve into what it is now?
It's definitely evolved. We started with two restaurants. So what I did is when I was working at the valet company previously, I had naturally developed relationships with some of the clients. And so as that company was really well known for providing the valet industry is kind of known for valets not really doing their job well and just kind of like showing up out of uniform and not really caring about the customers. This company that I worked for was the opposite of that. They were known for providing valets that really hustled, that really showed up well, were in uniform. And so we had developed some relationships, or I had developed some relationships with certain clients. And there were three specific ones, an event planner here in Nashville that did a lot of weddings, a lot of corporate events, and then two different restaurants, Listening Room
Hmm.
Cafe and what was that one? Union Common. Union Common is they have a restaurant in Louisville as well, so they shut down the Nashville branch and went to Louisville around 2020. Listening Room is still a client of ours, and the event company was, I think they ended up, they might have, I think they've closed down at this point. But it was those three clients. I approached those three clients and I asked them, hey, I'm starting another valet company. We're going to try and mimic the same values and try and provide the same level of service that this previous company was offering. And by the grace of God, they said yes.
It's awesome. Yeah. So you know what? Perfect, right? The previous company got bought. You were right there in the spot to continue the same service that they were expecting. I would imagine it was. I mean, if I were looking at that situation, I would say, God, that sounds pretty risk averse. If I go with the same person I've been working with,
That
and
that was kind of the strategy. Yeah.
yeah. And you were able to deliver, right? So was it just you parking cars to begin with, or did you have some other
No,
folks?
yeah, no, I had a small team. So because especially because of the two restaurants they operated simultaneously, it would have been absolutely impossible for me to do it all by myself. So I
Mhm.
had a team of, I took the top eight guys, 8 or 10 guys from
Wow.
from the company that I was at, and I told them, I was like, hey, I'll pay you more than the other people. Just like come help me out. And we at that point I did the schedule on Google on my phone on a notes app. I sent a screenshot to them and I was like, go to this place at this time and park the cars. And and that's what we did. We bought a couple of pieces of valet gear. It's honestly relatively cheap to start a valet company. The
Right.
expensive part is running the company.
Yeah. 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 And so tell me, you said it's expensive to run. What's the biggest challenge? And what makes it so expensive to run?
Well, I mean, insurance is one of our biggest expenses.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
Companies do not like insuring valet companies. Insurance companies do not like us a ton, with good reason. I mean, we park hundreds and hundreds of cars a week, if not thousands of cars a week and and there's a lot of liability. There's a lot of volatility in this industry. Everything can be going really, really smoothly, and then out of nowhere, someone gets into a car accident, and you've got 10, 15, $20,000 worth of damage. And God forbid someone gets injured, and then you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of damage. I read a news article recently where a valet took a car, not my company, but a valet took a car for a joyride and I mean ended up killing someone. So these kinds of things, there's just so much liability that you just wouldn't really think of. So insurance companies don't really love us. So finding an insurance company to quote us at a reasonable rate was a big challenge. And it has continued to be a challenge throughout the years. Every year we renew. Right now, I'm very blessed. We found a really good company that writes exclusively for the valet industry. And so that's been really great. I'm really happy with who we have now. But accidents, insurance, those are really the big, especially starting out, those were the big cost limiting factors for us.
Right. And then how about your workforce? Is that a challenge to keep, maintain, and motivate, inspire our workforce?
It really hasn't been that big of a challenge for me. I know that that's one of my strengths is I am a people person. I was actually talking to my wife just a couple of days ago where we were talking about we listened to something along a podcast or something that was saying hey, if you don't have the passion for what you do, then you're not going to probably succeed as an entrepreneur. And she looked at me, she was like, "You don't have passion for valet." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." But then she followed it up with, which sounds like it would sting, but it was, if you know my wife, it didn't sting. But she was like, but you do have a passion for people. And so I kind of see you guys, you're not really a valet. You're a valet company by all definitions, but really what you are is a people development company. And that's kind of how I viewed it is without even realizing it, is I've always cared about providing a workplace for my people where they feel seen and valued and heard, and they feel like a part of a family. And so that's always been really important to me. So I think that has made it a lot easier because that's my motivation. That's made it a lot easier to keep people on. The other thing is, I mean, you've got to be present. Um, if you're not present, people don't know who you are, and people don't want to work for you. People don't want to do anything for you. So those are the things that have kind of helped me, made that a little easier on me.
Yeah. Awesome, man. So investing in the people side of it, and you just by chance run a valet business.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's interesting. What's well, let me ask you this question. What in your 5 years, as a matter of fact, you guys just celebrated a 5 year
7.
anniversary. So, oh my goodness, 7 years. Okay, I was off by a couple. That's
If
pretty.
you don't count, well, if you don't count 2020 and 2021, which we did very, very little business, uh,
Uh,
for obvious reasons, when you can't gather for 6 or more people, event
yeah,
events go out the window.
yeah,
So you could make an argument 5, you could make an argument for 7. So you weren't too far off.
yeah. You started in 2000, regardless. You started in 2018,
That's right.
right? Yeah. Well, that's pandemic or no, that's still an accomplishment to make it that long. So you're doing something right.
Thank you.
Uh, what's the most valuable learning you've had in this experience through these 7 years?
That's a really good question. I think that consistency, the power of consistency is something that I've really started, especially lately, started to really, really value. And that's been a lesson that has been really valuable for me in
Mhm,
that just becoming 1% better every day eventually really, really starts to exponentially grow. Um,
mhm,
which takes discipline. And so it's kind of a spattering of things, consistency and discipline, but also being present with your people and taking care of the people that are working for you. Those are some of the most important lessons that I've learned from this. And then also just coming at things more open-handed instead of like trying to like shove an outcome down down a hole that it doesn't fit in, and being willing to kind of go with the flow and let things play out the way that they're intended to.
mhm.
I stressed myself out a ton when I first started the business. I say that now like I've been doing it the whole time. I stressed myself out a ton in the early business, just trying to like shove my agenda down people's throats and be like, this is what I want, this is how I want it to be. And that just doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah. And so uh, the alternative to that is walk us through that. How things change now? What is it you do differently than shove it down people's throat? How does all that work?
Sure. Yeah, well, I still have all those same ideas and desires that I tried to shove down everyone's throat. But now I think what I've learned is lead by example, which we all know, but it's very difficult to do. Um, and empowering people to take ownership of the things that is in their world, I think is really, really important. I used to delegate a lot, which is good. It's a skill that you need to have. But there's a difference, I think, between delegating a task and giving someone ownership over the result of something. And so what I've tried to do recently is I'll give someone a like, hey, this is your sphere. This is your area of business that you're in charge of. For example, I have someone who's in charge of brand management and training. And so I tell them like, you're in charge of our training operations, you're in charge of brand management and making sure there's unity across all our different like valet boxes and the website and all the different things.
Mhm.
And I kind of give them that sphere and then I step back. And instead of kind of hovering, I used to be a hoverer, a horrible hoverer. I would look over their shoulders and be like, I would do that a little differently and stop correcting people all the time, let people fail. I've had to force myself, and it's so painful sometimes, but I've had to force myself to just like let people fail a couple of times. And because that's how you learn. And so
Right.
that's been the main thing that I've been focusing on lately is stepping back, giving people a sphere of influence, and then stepping back and being there when they need to support, when they ask questions, if they need anything. But really just stepping back and saying, hey, you're in charge of owning, this is your baby. You're in charge of owning this sphere of the business, and the success of it depends on you.
Standing. Yeah, those are some good lessons learned, man. Tell me this, what are your aspirations? So you've made it 7 years. What's the next seven look, or no, the next five? What's the next five look like for you?
Yeah, I am currently trying to branch into some alternate markets. Right now, we've really got a good handle on how we run our event side of the business. And I'm trying to get, which is great. I love doing honestly, the events are way more fun for me, but they are not recurring. So you do
Mm.
one event and then you're done. Um, Granted, we do have planners that we work with exclusively. We have some venues that we work with exclusively. And so that does provide consistent income. But I'm looking more for right now for clients that want like regularly operating accounts, things like hotels and restaurants. And because that provides some stability for my employees
Mhm.
and it provides a consistent revenue that I can then reinvest back into the business, reinvest back into leadership training and people management and salaries for the people that I currently have. So that's really what I'm
Mhm.
looking to do right now. I would love for Trinity Parking one day to be known as the kind of the elite valet provider in Nashville, the Music City provider for great service in Nashville. Um, if that's something we accomplish sooner, I would love to maybe branch out to some of the other cities, Atlanta, or maybe go back to my roots. And I grew up in Texas, so maybe start a branch in Austin. Um, and so maybe get an opportunity to kind of test myself in some other areas.
Yeah. And so, are you considering it key to that strategy to be successful in landing some more consistent work at the hotels, making it a bigger portion of your of or a bigger share of the revenue that you're bringing in?
Yeah, yeah, I think that I mean I'm not gonna be able to. I have a firm uh I don't plan on taking on debt or anything as the business. I'd prefer to not get bought. And so really what that means for me is like doing the hard work to build up some recurring revenue that I can then kind of put away and later invest in starting something somewhere else. And
Mhm.
so that's really I think of Nashville as my prototype is once I can get Nashville the Nashville area operating really, really smoothly and really consistently, where our margins are healthy and we're making good profit that I can then hire someone, hopefully to run everything here in Nashville,
Mhm.
then we would start looking at branching into something else. But really, I think of it as like cutting my teeth here in Nashville, learning the skills. That way I can go apply them somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. What's the share with us if you could, maybe some of the hardest moments you've had in 10.
Sure. I mean, I almost walked away from the business in during COVID.
Oh,
I remember having a conversation with my business partner where we were really struggling. Um, we were blessed enough to get my partner was actually really great in this. He helped us get both rounds of PPP, the payroll protection program that, and we ended
mhm.
up getting that whole thing forgiven. So that's really what kept us alive during COVID. But I remember sitting there on the phone with him and I straight up told him, I was like, dude, I am done. I'm so tired. This is not fun. And he kind of talked me off the ledge. I was like, hey, there's still potential here. This is something that we can still do. And so that was a difficult moment for me. Also, I have two young kids, and so um, finding once I have a 3-year-old and a 5-month old.
Mm,
So being coming into the stage of the business where we really started to grow really quickly was about the time that my first son was born. And so
mhm.
trying to figure out the transition there of like, it's so important for me to be home and present with my family and my kids, especially in these early years while they're growing and developing. Uh, and so, but I also recognize, and I feel like it's that God has called me to make this business thrive and to help this business thrive for the sake of the people that work in it. And so just navigating those two callings has been it's been a challenge. It's been a real challenge. Trying to figure out where to invest my time. Um, did that answer your question? I may have gone off the rails a little there.
No, 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 no. Trying to figure out, I mean, when your plate is full and you've got, you have to devote time to your business, and then you've got a newborn at home. That's kind of you know, it's a challenging time because you got to
Yeah, it
make some.
is. I mean, the no sleep is real.
Yeah, right, right, and that can wear on you if that goes too long,
It
right?
does.
Yeah. Um, what do you think the biggest mistake is you made?
I have made a lot of mistakes. Financially, the biggest mistake is easy to answer. I early on in the business, I did not have as deep of an understanding and again, remember that I didn't go to business school. I don't have any of that knowledge. So I didn't have a great understanding of insurance and how to use that well. So I put a lot of small claims on my insurance early in the early years. Um, which ended up biting me in the rear later on. Um, ended up my first several insurance policies were about $12,000 a year. And so which is really good. Um, and then I put a couple claims on, put a couple claims on, and eventually they were like, "We're dropping you, dude." And they dropped me, and the new policy that I was able to get, I didn't realize how easy I had it with that $12,000 a year. And if I had, I would have just paid a lot of these smaller claims out of pocket. Um, but then the new policy that I got, because I don't know how I snuck in with that original one, the new policy was like $50,000. And so my insurance costs increased by like 400%. And and that was when I was like, oh man, that was going back to your earlier question. That was one of those moments where I was like, can we do this? Like, did I just make a business killing this series of decisions? Uh,
Yeah.
so that was, man, that was a big mistake. That was something of a massive learning lesson for me.
Right, right, right. And so, where was your partner in that? scenario? Or is that maybe he didn't even have eyes on that?
I don't think he didn't. I don't think he had eyes on it.
Yeah,
We are very separate in the like manages his aspect of the business and I manage my aspect of the business. And
gotcha.
we get together quarterly to discuss things. Uh,
Uh-huh.
but I made a couple of those decisions. I have a bad, and he would probably laugh if he heard me saying this, but I have a bad habit of uh, just doing whatever, of making decisions and just going for it before I talk to him.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so he probably was, if he listens to this, he'll be shaking his head right now. But
So so he might say that you're kind of a ready, fire, aim guy, or
oh,
are you?
100%.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's it,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, that's
100%.
funny. Yeah, and he's more of the okay. We really need to study this a little bit more, make sure the margins are there, and make sure the market's there,
Yeah.
and then dip his toe into it, and then
Yeah, yeah, which is why we complement each other so well.
yeah, yeah, that is perfect, man. That's perfect. That is you're very fortunate to have somebody
I am. Yeah, yeah, I really am.
and it sounds like you're not in each other's shorts. You're kind of like both of you know your role and you're off doing it, and you're
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, we're all people, and so sometimes there's frustrations that happen and I know that he gets frustrated with me when I just like jump the gun on something. And
yeah,
sometimes I get frustrated with him when I'm like, dude, you're holding me back.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but that's just normal people stuff, you know. It's relation that's how relationships work. And so
yeah.
we do a good job, especially more as the business grows, we do a better job of communicating those things and having we don't have a name for it, but just moments where like, hey, dude, I'm a little frustrated about this, and he's like, yeah, I'm frustrated about this, and so that's just an important part of owning a business with someone. It's a important part of being a partner of any kind. You do it in marriage, you do it in business ownership, you do it in any relationship you have.
No question about it, man. Open, honest communication,
Oh yeah,
and when and when it's safe enough,
yeah,
right? You know, hey, look, we're having some issues, or I'm not tracking here, right? Or you got a minute to talk? Let's have a heart to
yeah.
heart, and if you
Oh
can
yeah,
do that, things are
one
much
of the
better.
best things that one of the best things that I've discovered in solving some of those problems is the phrase like, okay, help me understand.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've started like that's in my back pocket. Anytime there's frustration or anytime it's helped in my marriage, it helped in business ownership. It even helps when I'm talking to an employee. It's like, okay, help me understand why you did what you did.
Yeah, right, 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 right. And then let them explain, and then by that time, whatever emotions were there are dissipated, and then you can easily move into a coaching role, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Understanding the other side, I think, is crucial in any relationship.
no question. So we're coming down a home stretch. I'm going to ask you just a few more questions if I could.
Go
Is
for it.
there, is there, you obviously have a great business partner and he's obviously taught you a lot and been an inspiration to you. Is there anyone beyond that you've looked to kind of in a mentor role, or is there some leader or business person or some book maybe that you've read some time ago, or maybe one
Yeah.
recently
Yeah.
stands out?
Books is a big one. I listen to a lot of, or listen, I read a lot of books.
Hmm.
When I first started the business, the most influential book that I read was The E-Myth. It's Michael Gerber. Uh, that was given to me by my brother-in-law's dad, who also is an entrepreneur. He owns an HVAC company out in Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me when I first started my business, he was like, read this book. This is how you run a business. And so that was really influential in the early days. I have the other book that has been really influential, which was recommended to me by my uncle, who is also an entrepreneur. He's another source of inspiration for me. Was Jocko Willink's book. What is it called? Extreme Ownership. Yeah.
Yes.
And then he has the second one called The Dichotomies of Leadership. Those two books combined have been have been really, really impactful for me in my business. Extreme ownership was good, but I think, the title itself makes it lean a little too hard on the on one side of the spectrum, and then the second book kind of rounds it out a little bit better. Um,
Nice,
I've been
nice.
reading recently. The book I'm reading right now is The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer.
Hmm.
And so he's been lately has been a big inspiration in teaching me how to kind of slow down and simplify some of the things that I'm doing in the business, allow others their own space to succeed if they're in their own right. So those are
Yeah,
just a couple of the books and business leaders that I look at. Business leaders.
yeah, yeah. So you mentioned as well just a second ago before we got into this about understanding. You
Hmm.
know, of course, the Stephen Covey book comes to mind. Seek first to understand. I think that might be one of his first of the seven, but that resonated with me. That's for me. That's an age-old one that is like foundational. At
Did you
all the
say
rest of
Covey? Stephen
Stephen
Covey?
Covey. Yeah,
Okay,
the seven.
I haven't read that. I'll have to check it out.
Well, it's an old book, man. Probably the 80s, something like that. But it's so simple and so applicable and practical, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah,
Any
a lot of good wisdom came out of old books.
Oh, no question. Yeah,
Yeah.
no question. So my next question is this. If you had a magic wand and you could change anything in your business, what would it be?
Do you have one? No, I think that um that's like such a good question. Um Let me think about that. I think it would be so right now the struggle that we're having is developing a uh good sales pipeline. Um that's probably my biggest weakness as a leader. So
Hmm,
if I could wave a magic wand and suddenly have a master's level understanding of sales and how to attract the customers that I'm looking for, that would be what I would use it for,
yeah,
without a doubt.
awesome. Great, great answer. All right, so we're gonna leave on a high note.
Let's do it.
Tell me what you're most proud of in your business.
Mm, I love that question. I am really proud of, well, the people. For one, I have uh, quite a few employees that uh, that kind of started, uh, and we're kind of a ragtag group, but we've become a leader in the industry. And we're not the biggest person in the industry by any means. But I'm really proud of some of the development of some of my leaders in the company. Um, we have spent a lot of time uh, training how to be good leaders. And I'm really proud of specifically Brian he's our director of operations. He's someone that has grown a ton over the years. And I'm quite proud of that. I'm also really proud of, uh, the culture that we have and the level of service that we seem to be able to continue to provide. A lot of that comes from trying to develop our people.
Mhm.
But I'm really proud of in an industry where it is just so common for valets to just not care and employees to go off on doing whatever. Our team really, really does care, and our team really they show a level of service and a level of excellence that I've not seen anywhere else in the valet industry, and I'm quite proud of that.
That's fantastic, man. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Hunter, it's been a pleasure having you as a
Yeah.
guest.
Thank you. Hope
Uh,
we can do it again sometime. Yeah, this has been really
yeah,
great talking to you.
yeah, we'll definitely do it again sometime. So if, gosh, you guys are, looking for valets, how can somebody find you?
Yeah, you can go to our website. It's trinity-parking.com.
Mhm.
You can that's probably the best way to reach out to us. We're on LinkedIn and Instagram. So you could always message us there. But I mean, my email is hunter@trinity-parking.com. You can always shoot me an email. But the website has several forums and things that kind of guide you through the process of whether
Yeah,
you want to join our team or whether you need a quote for something. That's really the best way.
perfect. Well, Hunter, again, it's been a pleasure. And dude, we'll look forward to doing this again soon.
Absolutely, Craig. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.